Hi, welcome back to the channel and part 10 of this series where we look at free cars that are really worth stealing off the street and adding to your collection. This week it's the turn of a 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass 442, but not just any old 442. This is a car owned by Pat Gorman. Pat bought this car when he was just 13 years old and it was pretty rusty, needed a lot of work, and he and his dad carried out a body-off restoration in their driveway over a few years, and by the time he left high school it was ready to drive. That wasn't the end of the story. It then came back to have this great paint scheme, a better engine and a number of other modifications to turn it into a really special car. In game it's the DeClasse Sabre Turbo and they're freely available on the street. They're one of the cars I see a lot of the time, but if you don't and you can't wait, they're only $15,000 from Benny's. Like most of the early muscle cars in the game, they drive in a tail-heavy manner like that, but with good acceleration, good noise, and it's overall a very enjoyable car to mosey around the town in. In the pinned comment you'll find a list of the parts I applied to this car to make this particular conversion. It might be helpful to you. A quick word about the livery, or the lack thereof. On a 442 like Pat's, you have two big black squares on the ram scoop, and you also have a black stripe down the side. Now unfortunately this is not available in the game. It doesn't look too bad of course on a very dark coloured car like Pat's to be missing the black, but it's still a bit of a pity. You could just opt to have the secondary colour as matte black, in which case the car would look a little like this, but then unfortunately you have far too much black on the car, so really that has to be your choice. The car you see here actually is not the one from my collection. In my collection I have the custom version, which is a $500,000 conversion at Benny's. I don't know now why I bought that, because I've never made a lowrider from the car and it's totally unnecessary for this sort of conversion. I'm going to guess there was a really good sale on at the time. If you look at them next to each other in my collection, on the left is the car you've been looking at, the free car, on the right is the custom, and about the only difference I can see is that the cheap one has two tiny little fog lights in the grille that aren't there on the custom. Otherwise they are very similar. I've taken advantage of the fact I am using the custom by painting the chassis red, and that at least gives you the same effect as the red mudguards and red suspension that Pat uses on his car, as you can see here. Unfortunately I filmed this bit of garage footage prior to doing that red modification, so you won't see that on the right hand car. So in summary, you make a decent driving, good looking, special one-off muscle car from a free car that you can pick from the street, and I think that's got to be worth it. I'm afraid mine is going to Los Santos Customs to be sold simply because I'm using the custom one, but I hope you found this useful, that perhaps it inspires you to steal and convert your own Sabre Turbo, and as always, thank you so much for watching.